And now your host, Noreen McClendon.
So good evening, everybody. This is Noreen McClendon, and this is another episode of Free to Heal, where we are formerly incarcerated and loved ones coming together trying to heal the ravages of mass incarceration. And tonight, we have a gentleman. He wants to talk about what happens, basically living by our instinct and our intuition, and what happens when we don't. Okay, so come on, you're gonna have to come a little closer. You're gonna have to come. Yeah, bring it in. Come on, bring it in. Come on, we can hold your hand. I don't know no more. I told y'all the people crazy over here. Didn't I try to tell y'all? I tried to tell the people. Listen, get over here. Yeah, cop a squat, player. Cop a squat. Cop a squat. And so it was. And tell us what prompted the conversation. What's on your mind? Tell me. Just tell, because you said you couldn't exactly explain it, and if I explained it wrong, straighten me out.
No, you explained it. I was coming from the gym this morning, and I was at a light. It was taking a long time. And I was like, man, I should just run it. So I thought, like, what if I run it and go up there and get an accident? You know what I mean? That'd be stupid. You know what I mean? So I thought about, like, what if everything that we did wrong could lead to bad results, or do it take away from our time here on earth? We never know, but they say our life is destined. So our life is destined, but we could take away from the longevity of the distance of our life if we do bad things. I just thought about it, you know what I mean? It just came across my mind at that time. So that's why I brought it to you and said like that.
Thank you. Well, that wasn't that hard, was it? You wouldn't think I was asking him to cut off his right arm or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So what I want to say about that is this. Particularly people who have been incarcerated tend to develop intuition. They tend to live by it. Your instincts will save your life in incarceration. And that's true even on the streets. But it is a skill. It is something that is developed very much so with people incarcerated. It's one of the things I know that I tell people all the time. I make it a point when I'm dealing with people who have been incarcerated to make sure I live up to whatever I say I'm going to do. I make sure, and then also, but it's more than that. It's the intuition. It's the gut feeling that comes. And the body has are you raising your hand, Patrick? Or are you waving at somebody else? If you want, just unmute and talk if you needed to, Patrick. But in any event, when we develop this instinct, and oftentimes people coming home from incarceration feel like they want to change or whatever, and they get nervous about it. And I say, listen, that doesn't mean that you give up your instinct. Your instinct, you're going to still live by that. You're going to live by that instinct that you developed, that you relied on when you were incarcerated. It's one of those transferable skills that from being incarcerated that you learn. And so but if we think about, one of the things I thought about when Davion was talking was, if people took 2 or 3 seconds to have that thought that he had before they did whatever it was, a lot of people wouldn't be in prison. Because what we function by is a lot of times is what our famous friend over here talked about. That would be Miss Diane. The running joke with her is she thought because she was mad that justifies some stuff. And then Miss Cheryl had to tell her,
don't be
still
mad.
Just because you was mad does not justify wrongdoing, no matter what it is, right? So I'm sorry, right? But if we, and then Pike, he always says, give yourself 2 to 3 seconds to think before you make that move. And like I said, I just know too many people who were incarcerated because in the heat of the moment, or whether it was act of violence, or something as simple like you say, maybe running a red light, causing an accident, causing somebody to be harmed, and now you got to go do time for that. You know, I've met people who are incarcerated for in the prison who are still incarcerated for vehicular homicide because of a split second decision. And thinking about one of our check-ins, lady said she was about her check-in word was intentional. And if we become intentional about the things that we do, if we become intentional even about getting into relationships, which is something that we typically don't do. Typically, getting into a relationship is like this. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah. And then he get my phone number and stuff, and we talk, and it's nice, and he's nice, and oh, he's exciting, or she fine, she fine. Okay, and then next thing we talking, and then we talking. Next thing you know, he got shoes up under the bed at my house, and all of a sudden I'm in a relationship. There was nothing intentional about that, but we need to be intentional about what we're doing, and we need to think through the things that we do. I promise you, you know, one other thing I want to say about the consequences. Sometimes you ever hear the saying, well, that's an ass whooping I'm just gonna have to take. Anybody ever heard that saying before? Heard somebody say that, right? I know I can remember being 14, and my cousin and I, she was my best friend, and we went out, and my mom told us to be back at midnight. Now, she had never given us a curfew before that. So we was like, but it's 10 o'clock. Be back at midnight. We just gonna just be getting there. Well, we knew we was gonna blow past that curfew, but I didn't know we was gonna go way past the curfew. So finally, the DJs at the party, this when DJs was starting to get popular, right? I'm an old lady, so yeah, bear with me. But anyway, so the DJ, yeah, I'm old. So the DJs start getting popular. So this particular DJ, he was one of the Astro Man. What y'all talking about? Y'all don't know him, he from Philly. But anyway, he invited us to go to the after party. Oh my God. Okay, so at 2 o'clock, I knew, oh no, we in trouble. So we might as well stay out because we ain't going out no time soon. And my thought was, she gonna beat our ass, but that's an ass whooping I'm just gonna have to take, right? Well, as a kid, that may sound fine. And the reality is it worked out okay because she did whoop us. She did. She beat our ass. But we said that's okay because we had fun and we know we're not going out for the next 6 months. Okay. So at least we had a good time. But we took that with them. But this is the thing. What if those guys that invited us there took us somewhere else?
Bad intentions.
What if they had bad intentions? What happens then? Right? So we're thinking about what we think. All we thought was, well, I'm willing to suffer the consequences for staying out too late. But there were potential consequences we didn't understand and we didn't know. I will use that to say, oftentimes when people are doing things that they know are criminal, they think they're willing to suffer these consequences, but they don't know all of the unintended consequences, the ones you can't calculate. For example, once you have this felony, years later, you know, served your time, you're going here and there, and next thing you know, you're going out of the country, and the other country said they won't accept you because you got a felony. There was no way. There was no way to anticipate that. Am I correct, Ms. Ward?
You're absolutely correct.
Okay, there's no way that's an unintended consequence. When whatever happened when you got incarcerated, your children, what happens to them? Right? Those were not, even if you thought I might be away from them for a minute, but being away from them for the amount of time and whatever, how it affected them psychologically is different. You want to say something?
I want to say this. She's absolutely right because it was me. I went to Japan, take my son for his birthday, and I got over there and marked that I had been incarcerated, and they wouldn't let me come into their country, and they put me on a plane within an hour to come back to Los Angeles. And this is my thought. What I did a long time ago affected my relationship with my son. What I did a long time ago is still affecting my relationship with my son. And I was like really hurt behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was for his birthday, and I wasn't even there for his birthday again.
And then think about this. This was the crazy part too. This is the crazy part about Miss Cheryl. Miss Cheryl gonna ask the people, well, who's gonna pay for me to go back? They're like, oh, we using your return ticket. We just changed your reservation. Miss Cheryl talking about who gonna pay? Oh no, you paying. You they not letting you in Japan. But guess what? There are a lot of countries that if you spent time incarcerated, what was it, a year?
A year.
A year for Japan. If you spend a year incarcerated, you can't enter Japan, which is on a footnote, per crime. Per crime, okay? What is disturbing about it to me is the fact that how is the president of these United States going to get into countries when he ain't spent no time in the pen yet. So maybe and he's not going. But again, he's a felon. So we're not going to digress into that. But that does disturb the hell out of me that he could be the president, but you can't get a job at McDonald's across the street if you got a felony. Okay. So yeah, well, and listen, I'm glad he did. Biden pardon his son. I'm glad he did, because you know what? Listen, if I had the choice, I surely would pardon mine. I surely would. You know what I'm saying? And then they talking about his whatever it was he was faced for the gun charge and the tax evasion. Facing 40. Oh, come on, y'all. I mean, it's just ridiculousness. But back to the subject, though, again, it's about unintended consequences. I often think about the people who lost loved ones while they were incarcerated. Somebody mentioned their mom passing or somebody passing before they came home. Those are not things that we can anticipate, particularly if we're young. When we're young, we think we're invincible. We think everything's going to be okay.
All right, tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be all right. Right. And we got time. The tragedy is we don't have time. And the people that are affected by our choices, they didn't get a choice. I talked to a guy in where was I? I was at New Folsom. And he had been down 36 years, and his mother came to visit, and he was scheduled to get out, and his mother told him, listen, if you come home, and I can't remember his wife's name, she had a little nickname, so I'm gonna call her Shorty just for the sake of conversation. If you come out and you cheat on Shorty, Shorty is going to kill you. And as your mother, I'm going to spend every dime that I have to make sure that Shorty never spends a day in prison for doing it. And he was shocked. He was just absolutely stunned, because his mother's telling him that if somebody killed him, that as his mom, she gonna make sure they don't go to prison. But I was trying to explain to him, listen, your mother's saying that because whatever day you left, you said, I'll be right back. And you never came back for 36 years, right? So your mother knows all of the things that Shorty went through while you were gone. You probably, and I asked him, I said, did you have a conversation with Shorty before you went to do whatever you did, that if you got busted, she was going to be down for you for 36 years? He said, no, but Shorty was, right? So I don't know of anybody that says, look, they have this conversation, we're in a relationship, and if I go to prison, you're going to put money on my books, you're going to come visit. People think about potentially getting caught, and maybe like it's there, they know, but the unintended consequences. Shorty had to raise his kids without him. If he went to jail and he was in there at this point for 36 years, his kids grew up without him, any kids that he had. And so what happens to them as a result of that, there's no way to know what those consequences are. But if we follow our gut, I have a friend, he's deceased now, and he used to tell me all the time that he would relay this story all the time, that the first time, and I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, he would say, I knew something told me, if you hop this fence right now, your life is going to change forever. And normally when he would be telling this story, it would be a deep moment. So I never pressed him to find out what were you going to go do, and what over that fence changed your life? But I do know it affected him deeply. And his mother was the one, he told his mom, he said, I was prepared to suffer the consequences. He went to youth authority because a police officer had been telling him that he was going to kill him. And prior to him killing the police officer, that time before that, the police officer told him, threw him in the car and said, the next time I see you, I promise you I'm going to kill you. And what he did kill the police officer. I don't think that had anything to do with going over the fence. I think that incident probably came before that. And that led him into a lifestyle that the police were a part of his life, and affected him. But he said to his mother, I was prepared to suffer the consequences because I felt like it was him or me. And she told him there was no way you could know what all of the consequences were. But if we take a few minutes to think like you did at that light, what happens if this? What happens if that? The likelihood is that we're going to change our direction and not necessarily do whatever it was. Like, you didn't run a light, right? And thankfully you're here. Even if you had a little attitude about, talking or whatever, you here. And we're so glad to have you with us.
Oh, you heard that? Okay.
Okay. So I wanna open the floor up. I want for comments and thoughts about the notion of um thinking about what we're doing. And like you said, and I think maybe I want to come to you, Danielle, if possible, just about the idea of being intentional about things, and thinking about the consequences, and see your thoughts on the subject. And you just have to unmute, Danielle.
Well, for me, when you be intentional, like just say for instance, you would already know what the expected outcome is, because you're gonna go into that situation knowing, hey, I'm purposefully doing it this way because it's gonna be consequences to something if I don't do it that way.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yes, yes, yeah, and that helps. Being intentional helps you to avoid being put in a situation about consequences that you didn't intend, or at least you're weighing that situation out. The more thought you put into what you're doing and why you're doing it, and I like to think of it as a risk versus reward. Is the risk worth whatever reward I'm thinking? Is it worth the risk that I'm taking, and what could happen? Because again, sometimes, like when we talked about the incident with Cheryl and going to another country, there was no way she could have thought about that all those years ago, over 20 some years ago, thinking about, well, I may one time want to go out of the country and they're not going to let me into another country. There's no, like, there was no way that was a thought. So being intentional will help us. And also I want to really focus too, and thank you, Danielle, for that. I want to also focus on
You're
the
welcome.
that gut feeling that we get. I live by my gut. And if it tells me don't, I'm grateful that I learned to listen to it. If it tells me do, I try to move forward. Because again, the instinct, particularly with people who've been incarcerated, that you have to develop, you need to rely on that. You need to know, and I will tell you, that's the creator telling you what to do and what not to do. People talk about this devil and the angel. Don't do that. They don't know. That's him in you, telling you, guiding you to help you make better decisions. And listen, but we do have free will. So when we listen, usually, oh, I'm so glad I followed my first mind. And whenever we say, I should have followed my first mind, normally it's because it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. And it didn't work out in our favor. Okay. So we have to pay attention to that. And you don't lose it when you come home from prison. You don't have to. You shouldn't ignore it. But at the same time, there's a balance between losing that intuition and becoming paranoid about everything. Because you got to allow yourself to live a little bit. Okay. And Patrick, I want to come to you because you take so many psychology classes, and see what your thoughts are on the topic.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment about that instinct. In prison, instinct kept us alive. Out here, they get you into trouble. If you respond with your instinct, you're in a world of trouble.
Hmm. So what you're saying is you need to, when your instinct, if you respond to that, you have to ask yourself, is this really what I think it is?
Yeah. You have to think about, like you're saying right now, you have to think about the conclusion. Are my instinct reactions going to help me here, or are they going to get me into trouble? You walk in and you say something to the wrong person, or you touch the person or whatever, that's assault. In prison, it kept you alive. Out here, it can put you back in prison.
Yeah, and also one of the things that I know that comes up is that sometimes we perceive things a particular way because of our experiences, only to find out that nobody was thinking. In other words, this person said something to me, they said it the wrong way, and I'm responding, but they didn't mean what I thought they meant. They didn't, they weren't being aggressive. I'll use this as an example. In the penitentiary, people talking loud is a problem. But on the street, people are just loud. They're just loud. And it's not a sign of disrespect. So the concept of being disrespected in prison versus on the streets is totally different. The threshold is so much different. In prison, the threshold for being disrespectful is really low. I had a guy tell me one time that he um, was on a bus stop and he was waiting for the bus, and a guy came to wait for the bus, and the guy stood directly behind him. And he said he went ballistic. And I let him get it out, and I listened to him. I said, "You do know that's a you problem. That man didn't know that you had been in the penitentiary." He said he told the man, "Y'all don't know how to stand out here. You don't stand right behind nobody." Okay, that's his instinct from prison. Now, how he could have handled that differently is just move.
Exactly, out the way.
Just move out the guy's way, right? Because that's his anxiety. The guy didn't mean him any harm. He's just waiting on the bus like him. But you got to ask yourself, is it really what I think it is? Or am I overreacting? Am I paranoid in some way? What's going on, to find out if I'm really being disrespected? And in that case, he would have determined that he wasn't being disrespected. The guy was just standing on the bus stop. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, it really, I ran into a couple of situations like that, like at the gym. A lot of people don't have, we think that you've been in prison, it's called like common courtesy and common respect. It's really not, it's just people being people.
Mm-hmm.
Or prison put it in your mind that somebody come close to you, I say, excuse me. They walk by you, guys say like, good morning, like we greet and keep respect here because it's a thin line, you know what I mean? So I had to break that at the gym because I've been working hard doing something, person walk so close, I'm about to flash on them. But then the people not waiting like that, you gotta get out of there, you gotta get out of there. You know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the same thing happened in my mind. In the grocery store, the same thing. In prison, it's messed up to where everybody has to say, excuse me, excuse me. It's really not like that.
Yeah.
We think it's like that,
Right. And that, like I said, that's a prime example where, it's a level of what's respectful, right? And that's what that is in prison. It's like, it's all about being respectful. And
I respect people that's bored. Yeah. Be bored.
Yeah.
Because I hear that it's not disrespect. I live in the everyday life out here, grocery store, gym, work, and everything. It's not disrespect. People trying to get to where they're going.
That's all.
Or they probably zoned out. Some people got their mental health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I run to all type of people where I see it now. They're like, no, we're just bored in prison. You won't find something to trip off of.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And people out here respect you. They just don't know how to show it where you want to show.
There was one guy at the Francisco homes one year, and he told me that his mother was speaking to him in murderous tones. I said, "What? What does that mean?" That's what I said. What is murderous tones? She raising her voice and she used profanity.
Oh, okay.
I said, "What?" Raised her voice. I said, "Well, first of all, I'm loud. Okay, I'm loud all the time. So I'm thinking, damn. Okay, but I said to him, I said, let me tell you something. Because Sister Teresa had asked me to counsel the family. So I knew a little bit about the mom. I had spoken to her before by this point. And I said to him, I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go over there to that door. And I want you to open the door, put your finger in it, and I want you to slam the door on your finger. I said, and I want to know if you're going to say, oh my gosh, that really hurt, or oh shit. because what his mother was expressing was pain. Their relationship was not healthy. The boundaries were not right. The mother gave up so much of her life um, while he was incarcerated, which I explained to her, he didn't ask you to do that, nor should you have. So now you're angry because 2 years before he gets out, he marries someone. And when he comes home, he's focusing, as he should, on being a husband to his wife, as opposed to being there for his mother. And she's upset about it. And she doesn't like the wife. Typical kind of thing. But what she's expressing is pain. Pain is not soft and gentle. Pain doesn't express itself that way. Pain, so like I told him, are you going to scream if you slam your finger in that door? Slam your finger in the car door and let me know how quiet you're allowed to be, right? But again, to him, that was murderous tones. And I said, wow, that's a lot. That bar is so low for disrespect. And it wasn't murderous, and it certainly wasn't disrespectful, right?
They
But-
were just crossing each other's boundaries.
Right,
That's all they were
exactly.
doing. They were just crossing each other's boundaries. That's all they were doing with each other.
Yeah. And because the boundaries, and that's something that's very important too, is boundaries. When people come home from incarceration, or even when you're in prison, it's very important to set up your boundaries, and know what they are. And you can't violate them, because then when you violate them, you allow other people, you open the door for that, and then your feelings get hurt when somebody else is violating. So I say, get your boundaries together, and stand on them, because your life could depend on it, right? It really could, because you got to know, this is one thing, you got to know you, so that you know what you stand for and what you don't. If you don't stand for nothing, people will tell you which way to go. They'll let you have it. And you got to stand on something. You got to stand on principles. And one of the other things that has come up here multiple times is the fact that people who have been in prison, particularly who've done a long period of time, typically have taken self-help groups, and they've done a lot of work on themselves to be able to get out of prison. People on the outside haven't necessarily done that work. They haven't necessarily spent time trying to figure out, what their motivation is, and what, what they say they want versus what they respond to. And what do I mean by that? A lot of people say, oh, I want a good mate, but they respond to trash. They respond to the hood rat. They respond to the low vibrational dude that's cheating on them, but they say they want a good man. But what they respond to is different. They respond to the guy that's abusive and disrespectful, or the woman that's going to cheat on him, or only want him for his money, or that will make herself convenient for him. So we say we want some things, but then some of it is we respond to something different. And so it's very important for us to know what's the difference in the two. But you got to know yourself in order to set your boundaries. There are some things, like for me, honesty is a thing.
Please tell the truth, please. Please.
Yeah, truth is something to me. I don't care how bad it is either. I don't want bad things, but if I would rather have an inconvenient, unpleasant truth than a lie.
Let me be the one to
Don't take
decide. Yeah,
Don't take my choice away.
let me be the one to decide, do I want to stay here or not? Let me. That's my choice for me, not for you to decide for me.
Yeah. And that's important. So again, because I always say this, sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes I don't. I might want to play with you anyway. You might be crazy as all hell. Your idea might be crazy, but today I feel like that. Today I'm feeling crazy. Let's roll with it. But let it be my choice. See, because you know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because if we gotta go to the pen, I want to at least have made my own damn choice.
Like, damn.
Okay,
Damn.
I want to at least have made the choice. I don't want somebody to have duped me into something because I believe what they were saying and it was a lie. Okay, so I'm just saying, it's very important for us to not take that away. So for me, honesty is a non-negotiable with me. If I find out, particularly early in a relationship, and this is about being intentional, I'm going to wait before I engage in acting like a girlfriend, engage in sex, or acting like a wife, taking on responsibilities, washing your clothes, doing all this, until I know that I'm in that relationship and until I know who you are. Why? Because I need to make sure that I'm investing in what I should be investing in versus the potential for the relationship. Because a lot of people get caught up, oh, it's got great potential, but it's not really what the potential is not manifesting what the potential is.
And it never will. It's all a potential.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just a real big smoke and mirrors because you don't know him, he don't know you, and we just moving to be moving. Everything's looking good, smoke and mirror, but we really don't know what's going on here because there's a lot of smoke in the front of the mirror.
Right, right. And pay attention to that smoke in front of that mirror because you don't necessarily see clearly what's going on there. Okay, but it's very important to pay attention to, but you got to know who you are, pay attention to who you are and what you need, because you got to be able to tell that to somebody. You got to be able to express it. You can't expect, this is my least favorite statement. Well, they should already know. Based on what? Did anybody, I never been to, and I've been to several universities. I don't know of any that they teach a mind reading class. And I know I never took one. So how do I just know? What does that mean?
People believe that. Why people say that? I've learned that people believe in saying that so much because it's because we hanging out. You should know how I feel. You should know what I like. You should know not to talk to me like that. You should know me and you cool. I ain't never told you nothing. We never had no conversation about nothing I just said. So how would you know? No, people really believe that. I hear people say that all the time. Well, they should know. How would they know? That's why I tell people when they have kids, they believe, oh, they know I know. Did you show them? Did you watch them do it? That's how you would know they know. I can't tell you, oh, go clean the bathroom if I never taught you how to clean the bathroom.
Right.
And I watched you clean the bathroom. You just don't know.
And you know what's interesting about that? Me and my friend, we were raising our kids together, and one of our running jokes is nobody told me when I decided to become a mother that I was going to have to teach him everything, including how to wipe his butt. Nobody told me that. I might have gave that a second thought, right? Because you got to teach kids everything.
Yeah, I was over there having a heart
attack.
Okay. Because I didn't know I was to take him to school, pick him up. I got to do all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait a minute, so I got to take you to school, pick you up, feed you, talk to you, entertain you?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't do, wait, hold on, wait. Let's start over one more time. I got to take you
That would be you. All them things is for you to do.
Okay, let me see. I got to make sure you eat, got clothes, you have a roof over our head.
Yeah. And teach them how to eat with a fork and a spoon. Teach them how to write. Teach them how to tie their shoes.
Yeah, he's 15. He's like 7. I didn't understand.
Okay.
Because I was just used to dropping y'all off.
See.
And I had to do all of that work. That's a lot.
It is.
A whole lot.
Yeah, and especially because you had the benefit of having somebody you had your mom who was doing all of that stuff for you.
I didn't know.
But at the end of the day, again, not knowing that you got to teach kids everything.
Everything. You
got to teach them everything. And again, when I decided to become a mother, that was one of those unintended consequences. Oh, Noreen, you got to do all of it.
But once again, they thought you knew.
Yeah, who thought I knew? They didn't even ask me if I knew. I think they should have asked me. That's what I'm just saying. So I advise everybody, ask questions. Don't make assumptions. The 4 agreements, one of those agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, one of the best books I ever read. The 4 agreements. One of them is don't make assumptions. If you don't know, ask. Ask the question and then ask the follow-up questions. Steve Harvey said that's where people get messed up. They don't ask the follow-up question.
They don't.
But I think that's because they don't really want to know. I don't think they really want to know the truth. I think they don't ask the follow-up question because they don't want to know. But I'm glad that, thank you, Davion, because we needed to talk about being conscious of the decisions that we make and how they may, and what are the potential consequences, just on the surface, just in a quick.
But every day, not
every day, yes.
Something's going on, you don't feel good, or you didn't feel right, or you didn't go your way. Every day, take that second just to think about it. If I do this, The end results might be this. Just tell yourself that, because it might just be that. But if I don't do this and I just relax and go to this instead of doing that, it might just work out better in your favor.
Yeah.
But you just got to take a step back. Everybody's always in a rush. Come on, Central is a freeway now. Don't come up here, y'all. But everybody's always in a rush, and that's the main problem. What are you rushing for?
Yeah.
When it's gonna get done, it's gonna get done.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, you ain't gonna get it done no faster.
Well, and a lot of times when you're not thinking ahead of time, what you do is you set yourself up to fail.
Thank you.
So it's really important again to take that time for a split second and think, and then follow that instinct. When something says don't do that, don't. If it says do it, do it. Right? It's just very simple.
To the best of your ability.
Yes, to the best of your ability.
Please don't have to do it to the best of your ability.
One of the other agreements, do it to the best of your ability. Always do your best. That's one of the other agreements. The others are don't take it personal and be impeccable with your word. And I will tell you that not taking it personal has saved my life. Because what happens is I don't, if somebody does something, I don't automatically assume that it has anything to do with me. And that's a blessing that has helped me. It has saved me from really becoming angry and hostile and a lot of things toward people, because people do some crazy stuff, and I'm in a position, I'm a supervisor of a lot of people, and they say things about me and all that. They don't even know me, but it gets very, and I get accused of a lot of stuff. If y'all had any idea how many people's lives I've ruined, minding my own business, is utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. But that's what I understand, is that it's not personal, it's my position. And as the position, when you're on the top of the food chain, they say it's lonely at the top. It is, because people do and say horrible things about you that you have no control over. And I'm okay with it at this point. I've been doing it long enough. So I want to go around, and I want to, Frank, is it okay if we come to you and ask you if you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say, I don't know the young man's name who spoke earlier about being at the intersection, but I can appreciate that thought process, because on impulses, when we start to act on impulses, we never have enough time to consider the long-term negative consequences of our decisions. And for me, I'm going to just use I statements. I never imagined some of the long-term consequences that I was creating for other people's lives who didn't ask for those consequences. And so I have to take responsibility for that. And I live with my poor choices. Some people say, oh, everybody makes mistakes. No, I didn't make any mistakes. I made some bad choices. And those choices were based on impulsivity. And just being aware of that now, it's good to just kick back, think about what you're getting ready to do, consider the consequences, and weigh it out. So I did appreciate that.
You said something that I've never thought about in this way before, is that it wasn't necessarily a mistake. It was a distinction between a mistake and a poor choice. That's two different things. And for some reason, it sounds simple when I say it out loud now, but that is a distinction that's very different. It really is important. It is substantive, that there's a difference between making a mistake, oh, I didn't know, whatever, and just making a poor choice.
Right.
Because the choice was a choice. And there is a difference in the two of those. And this is one of those times where I will tell you that is something that I learned in tonight, which is why I love the checkout, because I love to get the feedback from everybody else. And that's really powerful. And I'm sure that will come up in conversation again, because let's stop it with I made a mistake. I had a young lady in CIW one time tell me, well, I'm only here because my crimey, he didn't drop me off, after he came and borrowed the pistol, he could have told me and just dropped me off. I said, no, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. The fact that you were the person that he came to borrow the gun, that's why you in prison. It's not because he didn't drop you off first.
That's right.
Don't the story, but it's in your favor. That is not why you in prison. You in prison because you was living a lifestyle that said when he needed to borrow a gun, he came to you. That's why, you know what I'm saying?
That's
So
it.
that wasn't a mistake. That was a choice. And I'm gonna come right to you, Miss Monica.
Oh,
Monica.
yeah. Hey,
Hi, sweetie.
man, I'm so happy to be here. I hopped on about, I guess, 15, 20 minutes ago. I was running a little bit behind. I'm
Uh-huh.
preparing for a women's commission tabling tomorrow, trying to make connections. But I'm
Uh-huh.
always happy to be here. And when I first came on, the first thing I heard was just take your time, think before you speak. Give yourself at least 3 to 10 seconds. In fact, that's actually one of the things that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches, and that, it continues to be taught through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And they say, think 10 times. That's what the saying is in the mosque. Think 10 times before you speak. And every time that I just shut my mouth and gave myself a chance to think, I made the best decision, and I walked away feeling so strong. Because people will push your buttons, and when you feed into that madness, you feel so weak. And you feel
Yeah.
like, how did I let that person cause me to curse? How did I let that person cause me to make these bad decisions? And it happens so fast. 10 seconds made the difference between a life sentence and living this free life. And a split second. So I really
It's
appreciate that. That's where I came in on. I always appreciate being here. And I'm glad, even if I can stop what I'm doing for 30 minutes and sit with you guys, man, I say, shit, I hit this lottery. I'm just gonna pay everybody just for
I
keeping my
love it. I
company
love it.
and
I'm
listening to
so
me.
glad you're here.
That's Sister Cheryl. Sister Cheryl
I
always
enjoy
keep
you
me
here.
encouraged.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah, I
so glad.
love this spot, man.
Again, in checkout, again, here we are at checkout, and that's real powerful. What you just said is very, very powerful. So, um, 10 seconds, and I know the 10 seconds don't work for some people. So,
I'm working on it.
okay, listen. You working on it. She said the 10 seconds don't work. She said, I told her, I said, okay, well, count backwards from 20, right? She said it don't work for her. You know what I'm saying? So she's getting better. Yes, you are getting better. Uh-oh, they're having a
It's like this. It was a good subject. I really appreciate it.
I'm working on it.
Oh,
That's all I
did
can
you
say.
see her try? Did you see her
I'm
change
working
up?
on it.
Look, okay, the natives is over here acting out. Okay, let me just say that they over here having a about something, and then when I try to, now she gonna act like she just checking out. Okay, y'all know what? They just hilarious. But I'm so glad to see you, sweetheart. I'm so glad to see you. Okay, so how about you, Miss Danielle? Any final comments from you, my love?
Um, I just enjoyed the session tonight, and hearing
Good.
different people input and they take on things, and I look forward to joining again next Tuesday. And
Aw.
it was just real helpful. It seemed like a safe space, because a lot of people don't like sharing. But when you sitting around people that can understand you, that makes it all the better to want to share something, because a lot of people don't understand where we come from, what we've been through, and where we're trying to go.
And that's literally really for me what the issue is, Danielle, and why I continue to do this, because everybody doesn't have access to something like this. And there's nothing worse for me than to feel like I'm the only one going through this and nobody understands. I don't like that feeling. I don't like it. So I'm grateful for that. Um, and how about we go to Mr. Sean?
Um, I mean, I guess I kind of do it generally speaking, but it's a little bit different when you hear other people speak on it, like with being irrational and impulsive, not irrational, but being impulsive with their actions. Because I'm the king of impulsive. If you look it up in the dictionary, you see me like this.
Something your microphone is doing something. I don't know.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you
yeah,
got on earbuds. Yeah.
I thought I was like, kind of. I thought I was more like
I'm
that as far as
probably gonna have to
impulsive.
take the earbud out, baby.
I don't know
I,
what's going on, man. Please, can you hear me?
it sounds like you're in a tunnel, and it's like that So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. And it's just somewhere else. Is that better?
Oh wait.
No, it's not getting any better.
Okay. I think it's just the earbud in general. I think you just might have to use the regular microphone
All right,
versus the ear.
let me
Let's see.
see.
Because I'm sure what you're saying is important, and I really don't want people to miss it.
Is that better?
Oh, way better.
Whew. Oh, even I can hear now. No, I mean, as far as like impulse, I just never really, you never really think about it that other people are going through things and viewing things the exact same way. You kind of think that you're usually by yourself. So I tend to go at it alone and figure it out myself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just it's a good feeling to know that that I'm not crazy, because I feel like it makes me feel like I'm crazy.
Doesn't it when you have to like, you think nobody understands what you're going through and you got to deal with it all by yourself, it does make you feel crazy. Like, well, what's wrong with me, or what happened to me? What did I miss somewhere along the way?
Well,
And
yeah,
that is very frustrating.
that too. And then the other thing is, well, how am I gonna go to somebody else, because when they're not gonna understand?
Right. Exactly. Which makes you isolated, which is never a good thing. So I'm glad
Right.
that you were able to join us, and thank you for that information. Let me
You're
see, Mr. Patrick. You want any final thoughts for you, sir?
Yeah, keep it basic, keep it simple, share with people. We talk about this week after week, month after month. You don't want it complex. Living out here is damn hard. It's too complex. Keep it simple, keep it honest, and like Cheryl says, ask for some damn help.
That's right. That's for sure. That's for sure. So glad that you're with us here, always. And let me see. Did I come to Mr. Parker? Did I give you a chance to check out Mr. Parker? Oh, I sure did. Okay. So how about Mr. Jerome? You still with us, sir? Jerome?
Yes, can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
I sure can.
Yes, so yeah, I just wanted to say that a lot of seeds was planted, and a lot of food for thought. So hopefully I can use some of these things I've heard about tonight, and just little things, just to build on.
Yeah, that's awesome, because it's the little things that mean so much, Jerome. That's what you'll
Yes,
find out. That's what you'll find out. And so I'm glad you could join us. Okay.
thank you.
All right. And Mr. Miller, any final thoughts from you, sir? He out for the count. Okay. Out for the count. Okay. So final. Did you got your conversation? Whatever. Everything's all good. We served you well this evening, sir. All righty. Mr. Ben, any checkout? Okay. Wonderful. Missy Di.
I enjoyed the topic tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Molly.
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here to share space with everybody. It's something about being in person that has a different effect on me than being online. I work overnight and got a lot going on, school full time, but I still try to make it when I can. It's something, I don't know what it is, but it's like
There's an energy in this room. It is.
and I appreciate it. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to share space. And also the topic of being intentional. She pegged it when she said that word. I remember when I first came home, one of my friends got in the car, and I know my friend. I'm like, "What you got in your back?" She like, "What you talking about?" I was like, "Get out my car."
Okay.
And she like, "Oh, you got soft because you went to."
No, I got
I
smart.
did 6 years in prison, 17 in immigration.
Okay.
Damn near got deported. Get out my car.
How about that? How about that?
And people don't realize what all can possibly happen because I didn't think about it. Just associating with certain people. So intentional is a strong word.
Yes, yes. And I can't even begin to tell you the number of people. Like I say, that lady gonna try to tell me in CIW, oh well, if he had to let me out the car. No, 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 no. But just the infamous, can you give me a ride to the store? I know too many people in the pen behind that ride to the store. You know what I'm saying? And so be intentional about who you let in your damn car. Okay, let's be clear. Okay. Any final comments, my dear?
Good night, everyone.
And you did your checkout, huh?
No,
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't.
Okay.
All
Go
I'm
ahead.
doing is saying what Diane always says.
Okay.
It was a good topic. I liked it. That's what
Okay.
she always says. So that ain't 5 minutes.
Okay.
Right? But what I want to say is this: what she just said about getting in the car. I was in county jail with a girl who needed to pay her rent. The lady needed to pay her rent. She told the lady, "Give me a ride." She rode her to the bank. The lady robbed the bank. She went to prison too. Right? So you got to be very, very specific, like Jamali's saying, about who you riding with and why. But when Danielle said it's a safe place where we are, and it's easier to talk to people who have been where you've been. What I love about it is the female opinion is so much different from the male because you guys do a different kind of time than we do. And I was saddened when I found out how men do time and what you guys have to face and everything. We don't face that kind of stuff, but them girls in state prison out here kind of do. But it's just wonderful to hear, as Danielle said, the different opinions of everyone, how we're facing it. But this is the thing you got to understand. We all here and we all doing it.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you. And so I want to say to everybody, thank you for joining us for another wonderful session of Free to Heal. You can check us out on YouTube, check out our previous videos, make any comments. Lord, look at the people. They just don't know how to act normal. And we will be there. We're on all social media sites. Check out our videos. If you have topics you want us to let us know. Thank you. And if you can come in person, please do so. Bring cupcakes. Yes, from the Torrance Bakery. We take those. But anyway, again, we'll see you guys next week. And thank you guys for being here. Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye.
Y'all next week.